Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another stream here. This is the last New York stream for this session, and looks like we are moving bearish. The last New York stream is moving pretty beautiful. Yeah, looks like we're gonna come moving down. We're gonna come moving down to 136.41. I had sells that closed at like 10 pips. So right now, I feel like we will continue moving bearish here. I can't see the screen. Okay. Patience. Patience, my young Padawan. Yes, also, at the same time, it's kind of ranging here as well, like a little bit of a range it has here. So you'll have to be very careful about that because when I woke up, I saw this candle and I'm like, okay, perfect. This candle has been formed and we should continue down. But once it started moving up, there was kind of spectacle. But like looking at the 1 hour still making lower highs, lower lows. So I think there's a very high chance for price to continue moving bearish. At least fill this 4 hour wick here and then continue down to 13600. I think that's going to be good with the end of week end of week volume end of week volume push. Help me to become rich. Well, that's a very tough thing to do. Let's take a look here. This is GU 30-minute chart. Price broke the low. I think this is approaching a support. GU is approaching a support, so you might want to be careful here. Same thing with GJ, like it's approaching some sort of the support. So now you'd want to see the 15 minute is closing down. You'd want to see the next 15 minutes start breaking down. Start coming down. And then you can start to maybe try to re-enter cells and whatnot, but at this point it becomes very difficult. Yeah, let's take a look at US 30. We got GJ over here, we got gold, and let's take a look at US 30. And before we look at US 30, what I like to do is I like to look at the pre-markets. The pre-markets. Look at the free market. Seems like we're kind of negative here. It's kind of in the red. So basically, this would mean that price may start coming down. So looking on the 4 hour, it does seem like we're approaching some sort of a previous support, kind of doing like a retest here. Looking on the 1 hour, yeah, it's still at that point. This is a interesting area it's at right now. So if they got a new indicator, anchored wrap. So if it starts continuing down, it needs to form some sort of bearish candles to continue down. Otherwise, it's going to continue moving bullish. GJ is just naughty today. I like how you're minimalistic in regards to clothes and cars and whatnot. What advice can you give to waste your money in such things? I don't know, man. I'm more focused on. I'm looking to get 2 properties next year, and I've saved up a bunch of cash for that, right? I don't believe in paying like for cars or transportation. Like we have 2 cars. One is paid off. when I have like maybe 10,000 left on it. Yeah, it's just a car is a car, you know. After a while, a car is just something that's gonna, take you to places. So I've never been interested in cars. Like if I wanted to drive a car, I would just go like, rent one at the track. Like I rented Lamborghinis on a track, R8 on a track. My friend has R8, so I mean that's fine. But at the same time, they also talk about the thing like, hey, one of my friends he bought a 2019 R8, and like after 2 months, he's like, man, I mean, it's much more fun driving the truck than the R8. I have a couple of investments. I opened a trust fund um, for my son. We have that going on. I have another baby on the way, so probably gonna open another trust fund for that baby. Um, yeah, man. Like he has life insurance till he's 18, so it's gonna be all done. And I mean, I think I think if I was in my 20s, I think if I was in my 20s, I would be spending more money, But like since now I'm in my 30s, I've experienced some life, so I just don't feel the benefit of spending $2,500 a month or $3,000 a month on a supercar. It just doesn't make sense in my head, you know. So, I mean, I don't know. Um, I'm I don't spend much at all. Like these shirts are $6 shirts, right? It's just like if I'm gonna go somewhere, I don't want to think about what I'm gonna wear, I don't want to think like that's too complicated. It's just too much, I don't know, too much time is used, energy is used, so I don't feel like there's any benefit for me to maybe spend 20 minutes to think about what I'm gonna wear or what shoes to wear, or I just I just wear stuff. And yeah. Like my real work is right over here mentally, right? So if I'm looking at this candle, I'm looking for it to break the low over here, and then it's making to see if it starts continuing bearish till 136.20. That's my main goal over here. I'm wondering what you'd like to see here before entering a trade. Price still making new low, lower highs. The chances are strong. Let's take a look at this. Your JPY. Yeah, I would want to see a resistance forming here, like a minor resistance, and then price coming down. That's what I would want to see. Minor resistance and then price coming down on your JPY. GJ 30-minute waiting for price to break resistance. I think if you look on the smaller time frames, on the 15 minute especially, like if it starts breaking the low over here, then there's a high chance it's going to continue moving bearish. You could have like a 10 pip stop, and then you could like maybe extend it till 13600. That'll be a very good. That'll be a very good move. What's this? This is resistance form, 30 pip range. Low to be retested, sells under. Yeah, this makes sense. So now we're dropping down to the small time frames. See that it can continue going up. Down, can continue going down. What's this? GJ 30-minute. Risky entry, break of the slow, half risk, 10 secured. Oh yeah, makes sense. This makes sense. I think 15-minute really needs to break below 137.77 for it to continue down. Ooh, Mana sent the wrong chart. Kervin has raised his hand, but it's Friday and you can unmute yourself. Are you going to teach your son trading? I don't know. He's gonna, like, in life you can plan a lot of things, but at the end of the day, life has its own plans for you.
Good morning, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Monte.
Good
There you
morning,
go.
gentlemen. Good morning.
GJ should continue going bearish. Continue going towards 130, 700, and then 130, 600. Buys and sells below this area. Yo, what's up? Just wanna why you won't pass support over here, most recent one. Because if you look left, what you will find is that this is the new support right over here, like minor support, and this is the extended support. So that's why I'm counting this. So first price needs to come over here, and then from here it needs to come down over here. So that's the reason why. Because if you look more left and if you keep drawing zones, then you're going to start overthinking. Over here, there's no overthinking. The only thinking over here is the once price breaks this low, where's the next place it should go? Right over here? Okay, perfect. What's after this? Right over here. That's it. I don't want to overthink stuff because it just makes you not take a trade. Took this trade earlier. Mind advising on this? Yeah, let's take a look here. So far, this is still running here. This is running very nice. Up like 3 pips, nothing major. Oh, so much analysis here. General analysis, 4-hour bearish, small resistance, took a sell when bearish candle formed, got stopped out. And then now you got to see how you could have re-entered, right? Because it obviously played out. So you want to see how you could have re-entered. What time frame is this? 15-minute time frame. Yeah, I mean, it was right here, I think. Let's take a look at the weekly candle here. For weekly to go bearish, it has to move a lot for the weekly to go bearish, because for weekly to go bearish, it basically has to come down to 129,367, right? And that would mean you would need this daily candle to drop 140 pips more when it has already dropped almost 100 pips. So that's a long ass way down. That's like a waterfall that should never end if that's going to happen today. So you need to see what can happen today. So right now, I think this is very probable coming down to 13600, which is like 17 pips away. It's basically nothing for GJ. Right? As long as you see 15-minute candles closing bearish, then the 30-minute is going to go bearish, and then others will go bearish too. Let's take a look here. So, holiday. I guess there's no trading on Monday. So holiday. Yeah, US30 is still stuck over here. I'm going to keep an eye on US30. I took my first trade on US30. I opened a $1,000 account and I took my first trade on US30 yesterday. Remember when we left yesterday, we were talking about the US30, how it's going to go up. So that was the move I took yesterday. I think it was, yeah, right here. Somewhere right here. It was this move right here, all the way from here to up over here. It was a 100-point move. Yes, this is a move I took yesterday. On a 10-cent lot. I made $100. Yeah, because US30 is very difficult to trade, right? It's very difficult to trade. I don't want to trade US30 on my regular account because I know I'm going to end up using like 1 lots and 2 lots on US30. So I opened a $1,000 account on the side to see if I can make some decent returns with US30. Because if I lose $1,000, it's like whatever, it doesn't make a difference. But if that can continue on, if that continues to grow with US30, and then I'm going to move on move it to my regular account and start smashing it. But so far, I gotta stay disciplined, and I really gotta see if I'm profitable with US30. So there's no rush. Many stocks look in recovery stages. Yeah, I mean, I think it's false optimism. That's what it is. Like they say the vaccine is here, that's why. I mean, the only reason things move up is because when they start opening up the economies or they start talking about opening up, some provinces, or when you have the major companies, they come out with their earnings. Now, the thing is, most major company earnings have been more because of people just like buying online, like especially like Walmart. The other day, Walmart had its earning reports. It was pretty good. It moved US30. So there are a lot of variables involved that moves US30. Can you mute your WhatsApp notifications? Yes, sir. Let me just mute these. You don't like my notifications. Alright, let's take a look here. This is your GBP support formed pre-New York, took a buy, running after 10 pips. If I have a stop loss to BE after 5 pips, secure a profit. I think this is good if you're securing your profits after 10 pips, because basically it's a Friday, and on Friday you shouldn't be taking a lot of risk anyway. So if anyone's trading, just make sure that you don't risk a lot. That's one advice I have for you. It's a Friday, and on a Friday you don't want to have a really bad day. There was a guy trading in line at the store. Yeah, can't trade when you're at stores, can't trade while you're in coffee lines, can't do that. But if you look on the 15 minute, this 15 minutes closing bearish. It's closing at this minor support. I believe there's a very high chance for price to continue moving bearish to 13600, and we should get that. Um, you mainly only traded GJ for 2 years. Yes, been watching US30 for about a month now, and took my first trade on US30 yesterday. And I opened up $1,000 account to trade US30, and I'm gonna continue trading US30 on that account. And if I'm profitable for the next month with US30 on that account, then I'm gonna move it to my regular account. You know, that's what we're gonna do. Nice. GG's moving nice. What's the least amount of money I should start with? Least amount of money. I think the least amount of money you should start with is like any anything you're okay to lose. Like if you start with $500, and if you're okay to lose $500, start with $500. Any ideas what I did wrong? Let's take a look here. Um, ooh, yeah, I think here it is what it is. Because when I woke up and I look at the charts, I saw this wick going up after this candle. In my head, I was like, oh man, people definitely got stopped out over here. Because you would have kept the stop above the 30-minute candle and it would have stopped you out. And to that, everyone who's going to send me charts after this, I would just say, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I mean, we expected it to respect the high and go down, but it went up a little too far, you know. But on the 1 hour, it still respected the high, you know. What do you think about brokers matching your deposit? I have no idea. I mean, if they match your deposit, awesome. I think they have some withdrawal limits though. They have some limits on withdrawing, like certain amount of total number of volume you need to use, total number of lot sizes you need to use. They have those limitations. See the 15 minute now closed bearish here, closed below this area now. Now you want this 15 minute to respect the high of the previous 15 minute and continue moving bearish. That'll be pretty good. Plus also the 4-hour wick has been filled here almost.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, someone else got stopped out. Let's take a look here. Notice how on Fridays we are low in attendance, because a lot of people they just, they take Fridays off. I had a buy stop at 1728, but I stopped and faked me out. You had a buy stop here on the 30-minute chart. Yeah, I think your stop was too tight. Stop should have been at least down over here around 1720. Or if you go to the 1 hour. The thing about gold is very difficult to trade. If you look on gold is extremely difficult to trade. So even if you're looking at a 30-minute or if you're looking at 1 hour, so if you're looking at stop losses, you're basically putting stops above below the 1 hour chart or the 4-hour chart. That's what's happening with gold. What are your thoughts on being a specialist in a single pair versus specialist in a single setup? I think you should be a specialist in a single pair. Once you become a specialist in a single pair, you forget that even setups exist. You stop looking at higher highs, higher lows. You stop looking at wedge patterns, bullish patterns, bearish patterns. When you really understand one pair, this is facts. You forget all patterns. There are a lot of people here who just focus on one or two pairs and I have a language barrier, man. And they can testify to this, like there's no such thing as the patterns or something like that. It's just like if you really understand the pair, how it moves in different sessions, like what kind of candles it prints and stuff like that. So when you're really good at a single pair, you start to anticipating how it's going to go. Like if I'm looking at GJ, it approached the support. So in my head, I was like, okay, you know what? It has done this before. It has done a very, very strong retracement at a support. So once it's different, like you need to understand just one pair. There's no such thing as using one strategy on all the pairs. But there is a thing as like just trading one pair and being profitable. We do it every day. How hard was disciplined about the number of trades to take? This was pretty hard. It was really hard to take one or two trades a day. Mainly because I wanted to rush it. Have you closed anything on GJ here? I closed everything on GJ. I closed GJ in the $9 loss, basically. I had one sell and then I took another sell, which I closed in a $9 loss. And that's it. My plan was if break the low, activate sell stop. Nice. Makes sense. Is stop loss to BE after 5 pips too early? Depends on how much volume is there. If you think price will continue moving bullish, then I think it's too early. If you think that you're putting stop losses at break even, and if you've taken a loss before and you want to secure this trade without taking a loss, then that makes sense. So there are a lot of factors involved, but I think it's too early. Or if you think that it's a Friday and you don't wanna mess up your trades, then it's fine. You know, like I had my stop at break even on GJ as soon as it went into profits, and then it came up and stopped me out. So I was like, okay. Stops are difficult because you're buying or selling at extreme. I use number of like 8 pips. Yeah, like when you use when you use the buy stops and sell stops, you're basically anticipating price to um, continue moving through that area. So what you're going to notice is on Friday, the reason why people say to be careful on Friday is because sometimes price has like haphazard movements. Like the Asian session is closed. Granted, the Asian is still closed normally in New York as well, but Fridays are pretty tricky. Like sometimes you could have weekly continued push down or weekly continue like a retracement. So at times Friday moves, price doesn't really do what you want it to do. So it's pretty difficult in that essence. So those are one of those things where you just say, okay, it's a Friday, I'm gonna be careful on Friday. Have you marked out US 30 zones on 30 minute? No, I just have one zone marked out on US 30, and it's this kind of like a support resistance-ish area over here. That's the only thing I've marked out over here because I'm looking to see if it's going to reject it or not to continue down. And if it continues down, then I'm going to might see that if I can take a sell there or below this area and whatnot. But let's see what happens. Hey Raja, cleared FTMO challenge. Wasn't possible. Oh, nice. That's excellent. Someone cleared an FTMO challenge. Beautiful. Can I expect this to continue down? Euro USD. Yeah, I mean it's creating a low, right? It's creating a low over here. So once it's creating a low, you'd want to see if it creates like a minor resistance to continue down to retest this low and then hopefully continue down further. But you have to be cognizant of the fact that, like for this to happen, you would want euro to be very, very weak and you would want the dollar to be strong. So it gets very difficult to trade your USD. So that's why I think looking for confirmations on US 30 for no your USD for bearish candles there would be very important to indicate now we're going to continue down. How do you secure profits in a winning trade? You close it. Can you give feedback on my analysis for next week? Sorry, we don't do that. This is just what's happening right now. Next week, we'll think about next week. Can you explain more about using runners? Yes, if you let it run, it might run into, bigger profits and it might stop you out. Hey Raja, do you ever look into currencies that pay you interest if you hold overnight? No, I haven't. Is there a specific event or period where GJ can act weird? Can you suggest any fundamental backups for GJ? Yes, Brexit, UK opening up the economy. Um, for a time, like Boris Johnson was affecting us. Right now, I mean, the Brexit thing is not near it at all. So like different uncertainties, like like different news, uncertain news. Like I know in 2018 was very volatile because of Brexit, so those things kind of affected too. So you need to know what's going on. Like if I trade GPJPY, I know that okay, right now Brexit is not a big issue. The only issue they're having is like whether they should be opening up the economy or not. Because if there are optimism that okay, now the economy is opening up, then that will increase pound. Like that's like a good thing for pound. You think GJ will hit 130,300? Well, if it breaks below 137.35, then there's a chance it will continue down to this area, 13600. And after we break below 13600, then there's a higher chance we're going to continue down towards. Oh, I don't know where you see 13300, but I see way down over here, 129,900. Let's take a look on the 1 hour. Yeah, maybe over here 130 even. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what Friday has in store for us. So far we're ranging. GJ low, which break the last lower low. Thinking to enter short on this level if I see resistance is holding. Perfect. I think you might get that trade by next week. When you took your trade today in the US, my trade was basically, let me see what price this was. 139.25. Yeah, 139.25 down till 138.00. And then I took another one which stopped me out at break even.
What a pullback on GJ, Raja.
Yeah, so that seems like it's respecting the support.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, thank you for teaching such gold when it comes to discipline. Wanted to trade Euro JPY, but I watched it and paper traded it for a month before my first trade in Asian session and caught 57 pips. Damn, very nice. Did you close half your position on your US 30 and leave a runner? No. When did I take the US 30 trade? Yeah, so this is an area where it should be respecting it. I think it should continue bearish, US 30. I'm just looking to see if it's going to come down to this area and if it's going to break below it to continue down. So I might look for a trade below this 24270 to continue down till maybe 24170. Yeah. What did you see to take a sell at 139.25? My bias was bearish, right? My bias was bearish here within this hour. So when I looked at the charts, the 1 hour was up over here and it was coming down. So my idea was, well, if it's coming down, it should continue down to maybe fill this wick right here at 137.55. So I took a sell, kept my stop like up over here, and then it came down to around 10 pips. I closed, and then I opened another position which got stopped out at break even. So it was based on the 1 hour. Like 1 hour was bearish, price made a low, 1 hour was retracing. So I said, okay, if I can enter now, like around, like 139.25, I can have a 10, 12 pip stop loss, and then eventually I can, maybe write it down to fill this wick. Why exactly US 30 and not S&P 500 or not? I don't know. It's the first thing that came to my mind. Like we were looking at US 30, so just US 30. Most of my friends trade US 30 too, so it just made sense. I mean, you can say I got peer pressured. Please have a look at the AUD USD. Let's take a look here. Look at this chart. Oh, wrong chart. Wrong chart. Sent a wrong chart. GJ could be considered Ranging, yes. GJ is ranging. If anyone who's taken two trades and you've taken two losses, just call it a day. Call it a day. There's no need to, continue on the bloodbath. Created a large upper body wick. Entered when it flipped bearish. Okay. Stops above here, 18 pips. Closed here because it went all the way down and came up. So, okay. So I think you could have secured something because it went down. How much it went down? It went down almost 13, 14 pips. Yeah, it went down almost 13, 14 pips. So either your stop loss should have been at break even at that point, or you should have secured because it came down to a support. Whenever you're in a trade and the trade is, let's say someone took a buy, right? And your buy went up to resistance here. At this point, you should be securing position because we don't know whether price is going to reject this resistance or it's going to break through the resistance. So obviously, you'd want it to break through resistance. Just like if you took a sell over here, you'd want it to break support, but it's at support. And so it doesn't make any sense to hold it because we don't know whether it's going to break support or it's going to, bounce off support. We don't have that. We don't have the luxury of seeing that, so. So it's better to be safe. Your thoughts on Forex scalper? Yeah, I think it's demo. Yeah, US 30. What's the correct way to trade coming out of a range? The best way to trade coming out of the range, so if I'm looking at this range over here, I'm looking to see price maybe coming back up into this area, 130,300. So if I see something closing above 130, let's say 139, 980 or whatever, right? And then I can be sure that, okay, once we get closes above this area, there's a very high chance we might maybe consolidate here on 130, 100 and then continue on to 130, 300. Your JPY, 1 hour resistance, new 1 hour support, entry, target. Perfect. Makes sense. Can you tell us about Trixie? I've been using it for a month. Easy way to journal trades. Yes, it's pretty good. Trixie, it's pretty good. Trixie.trade. It's a pretty good software to journal your trades. Yeah, so you can go over here. I know after this, people are gonna message me. Oh, hey man, what's the name of the journaling website you opened on the stream? Even though it's right over here, and even though the answer would be if you could go and watch the streams, you can find the name, but still, it's this spoon feeding mentality which we have to get rid of. We really have to change this spoon feeding mindset. I know people who are older, they will never do that, because they'll say, oh yeah, it makes sense to go watch the stream. But, if you're like a younger person and you want answer now, you would come in my DM and then you would ask me, hey, what was the name of the trade? And I would just like your comment and then I would move on. Do you keep trades over the weekend? Nope, I don't keep trades over the weekend. I think it's very risky to keep trades over the weekend. USD CHF at resistance, trying to come down. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Just be mindful of this minor resistance and support over here. Tomorrow, would you be talking about journaling? Yeah, we'll see. A little bit of journal. I mean, journaling is very easy. It depends how you do it. My journaling is on these live streams. This is how I journal because I go back, I rewatch the live stream. Some people take a before picture of the chart and then they take an after picture of the chart and then they write down what happened, what they expected to happen, and some people they have an Excel sheet, where they write down their trades, they took a buy, what was the outcome, what was the profit or the loss, why did they take the trade, so there are different ways to journal. You have to identify what journaling technique is going to work best for you. Journaling is like when you run a business, you write down how much you sold, how much came in, what was your loss, this and that. So journaling is just like that. Journaling is just keeping track of your trades. And if you can't keep track of your trades, I don't think you should be trading because it's very important to keep track of your trades. I know some people, they take a bunch of trades, they'll take five, six trades, and they'll only journal one trade. Why? Why not journal all the other trades? I mean, you're here to make money, and you need to keep track of the money. We have Stephanos here. Stephanos, he does amazing job at journaling. I think he wants to say a few words.
What's up, man? I was
Hey,
just going to say everyone should just stay extremely organized and detailed about, every single detail about that trade so you could go back and you know what you were looking at that time.
this is Stephanos' Instagram right here. You can go check him out, and man, his journaling, this is how he journals. Like, I watch his journals every day. Before, after, how he felt, this and that. This is important because now he can go back and he can look at all his winning trades, losing trades, break-even trades, and he knows exactly what happened. And when you look at your old work and you know exactly what happened, that's how you get better. Because if the next time it happens, he's going to be ready. He's going to be like, oh man, this happened last time and now I'm ready. Now nothing can attack me.
It's really all about the little details in this business.
Ooh, what the fuck happened here?
Hey, it's a tough one. That was a bad sell. I sold at the bottom right there.
Yeah, I see that.
That's horrible. Get some bad losses.
Yeah. Dig this guy's page, man. He brings value to my progress. Oh, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of value in that journaling page. At this time, can you draw a trend line and use that like a confirmation? Like how? You need to send a chart. I don't use trend lines. I think you can guesstimate trend lines. Because if I draw a trend line like this, let's say like this, what is this trend line going to tell me what price action will not? You know, we still have to break this resistance, and there'll be a break of this trend line. We still have to break the support, and there'll be the rejection of this trend line. Oh, you just gained 40 followers. You owe me $5 now.
I always appreciate your chat. Just shoots up every time.
Yeah, I'm the catalyst.
Love it.
When you leave a runner, do you use the trailing stop or new TP? No, not really. I just monitor my runners. Yesterday I opened a 10-cent plot on US 30 and it ran for like 60 points. I'm like, okay, let's see if it can run to like 100 points. And oh wow, it's breaking up over here. Okay. So it was like, okay, so I closed right over here when it came up to 24600 because this was resistance. So I think runners, I really manage my runners. If I look left and the runner is approaching like a major zone, then I close it. If it's like 30 pips, 35, 45 pips. Chart from France. France. All the way to France. Oh, wrong chart. Okay, we have another chart coming in here. Stop loss, entry, TP. Makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. You'd want to see a small time frame closing bearish as well. When looking for support resistance to be formed, which time frame best? I think 30 minutes is best. I mean, basically, you're just looking for a candle to flip in your direction first. Like you're waiting it to flip bearish or bullish, you know. So I say the 30 minutes flipping bearish would be much better. It'd be like better confirmation. Raja, not trying to sound clever, but I noticed something on your yesterday trade. The trend line would have eliminated the confusion. Maybe I'm just a learner. Oh yeah, that's fine. The thing is, I've always stuck to what I've known, and it has worked. So sometimes, you know, I may take a trade which may not make sense, but it may make sense on some other technical factor. But if I start introducing a new technical factor in my trading, maybe the trades I do take, they may start contradicting the new technical factor. You know, so now you're bringing in new odds in your trading. Just like if I start drawing Fibonacci's now, you know, like some trades may make sense on Fibonacci's, but then that may contradict with my price action too, right? So now if I have odds of winning more, maybe now my odds of winning are gonna grow, like, you know, low because of that new technical factor in it now. So that's why it's really important to stick to just one technical factors. I think price action is more than enough. Just like candles, if you see them out move, and you know, it's pretty awesome. Because now if we're looking on the 4-hour, we know like we had a big move down from yesterday, and that was from, I don't think that was due to some news. I don't think so. I don't think that was due to some major news. So we might see like a retracement coming up. We might, you know, I'm not sure. We might, because if this 4-hour starts going bullish, the next one should go bullish as well. And I mean, if we start breaking above 139.990 or 131, then, you know, I think that's possible. It's possible for it to continue moving up. So we'll see, like, sells below this area here, down here, and buys above this area here. Have to wait and see. This is Euro JPY, support resistance, body on resistance with wick form going up. Looks good. What was the secret recipe that Ted gives you? The secret recipe is that it just takes time. Oh, wrong chart. So you don't use confluences to execute trades? No, I don't use confluences. Using confluences is like, I don't know, it's like more thinking involved, you know, and I don't like to think a lot when I'm taking a trade. I have a very one-track mind. If I see a buy, I'm going to look for maybe a support to be formed or like a candle closing bullish, and then I'm going to take a buy. You know, if I'm looking for a sell, I'll look for, like, if I'm looking for a sell here, I'd maybe want this support to break with a bearish candle, and then I'll take a sell. I don't think there's any benefit in using multiple indicators to give me so-called confluences to trade, because price only moves up and down, really. I mean, it moves up, it ranges, or it moves down. There's no other way price is going to move. So yeah. How often do you trade Asian? When there's something good, I trade Asian session. I have new rules and I made a promise to stay disciplined, down to 1% risk set per. Yeah, that's good. Now the challenge is to really follow those rules. What's this? Does your JPY move well in NY session? Yes, I think so. Would you trade differently if your broker had spreads? Well, my broker has spreads, so I don't know how I should answer that. Every broker has spreads. Spreads are basically the cost of you to trade. You know, if the spreads are high, that means it's going to cost you more to take a trade. If the spreads are low, it's going to cost you less to take a trade. What time do you usually start your morning on the charts? Around 15 minutes before the stream starts. What is your expectancy of your trading system? I don't know what the expectancy of trading system means, but I have a 80% win rate. And no, I'm not a billionaire, because I know someone's going to say, oh, if you have 80% win rate, you should be a billionaire. No. Billions is a lot of money. Could you please analyze USD CAD? It's so crappy, I cannot find zones. Well, Barry, you are the master of USD CAD. If you can't find zones, I can't find zones. Let's take a look here. See, so you have a support here. Okay, we see a support, and then we see this resistance over here. Right? That's the first thing we see. Easy. That's the easiest thing we see first. So if we measure the zone, this is a 30 pip zone. So there's a lot of ranging here, 15-minute, a lot of ranging. There's no trade here in this area. I think a trade is going to be if we break below here, and then you could maybe extend price to coming down towards 1.39670. You know, that'd be a nice target if it does break below that area. But other than that, in this range, this is a very hard range to trade. Oh, there's news for CAD. Oh yeah, there's news for CAD too. Yeah, I think it's going to be bad news. So let's see what happens. Would you trade a pair that has no trade? Look for another. No, 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 no. See, that's the whole idea about being patient. If you only trade, let's say GPY, and it's ranging and there's no trade, you don't have to take a trade. You don't have to go to another pair and maybe take a trade on that, because the pair you trade has no trades on it. It's a big part of discipline. Hey boss, I've noticed most of my losses are because I closed trades partials too early, thinking that I'm managing my risk, only to find out my analysis was correct later on. And am I managing my risk even if that's the thing? Yeah, I think if price is still continuing your way, you need to find out what percentage of the time it's still continuing your way. If it's more than 50%, if it's more than 50% time that price does go your way, then it just hold the trade, because then your statistics is going to show that most times price goes in your way. So if you let it open, or maybe like, you know, sometimes, you know, people get scared and they close percentage of position, or they close the entire thing. So I would say in that case, just let like half run, because even after you close, and if the half runs, then you'll get more confident in maybe holding the trade longer later on. In your experience, how often in your winners have you closed half your position because you were in drawdown? Is this something you do? Yeah, I do this all the time. Whenever I'm in drawdown, I mean, if you rewatch yesterday's stream, that's exactly how I manage my drawdowns. You know, so I close half, and if it goes in profits, it goes in profits. You know, but if it comes down more, I close everything. GP bad news this morning. Their borrowing went up to 63 billion during a lockdown. Oh wow, that should drag pound down, right? Yeah. I mean, if you're looking on the small time frames, I'm not sure if it's going to drag it down on the small time frames, but on the like the higher time frames, it does seem like it should continue down. But things about when borrowing increasing, or like, you know, those higher time frame things happening, they don't affect price on the smaller time frames. So if price breaks above 131, there's a very high chance we're going to go to 131, 300, even though their borrowing increased, because that's what price action is saying. It's saying for the meantime we're going to go up. How do you decide how much to keep in your trading account to maintain certain lots after withdrawing? That's totally up to you. That's totally up to you. I withdraw half of my profits sometimes a month. Like this month, I might withdraw like, say, I think I'm gonna withdraw like 5,000 or something like that, because March I had a big withdrawal come in and the accountant said that don't withdraw anymore because taxes are gonna go up. So plus I don't need any more. So I mean, it depends. It basically depends on you how much you want to withdraw. Like, and what your goal is. Like if your goal is to like withdraw maybe to pay one small bill, then that's what you're going to withdraw. Because the idea about trading and withdrawing is to supplement the bills you want to pay. Let's say if you have a job and from that job you make, let's say, $2,800 a month, and from trading you're maybe profiting 600 a month. So now you're going to say, okay, well, maybe from the 600 I might want to withdraw $100 and put it towards my, like internet bill or phone bill. So I think once you get in the habit of withdrawing small amounts consistently for like every 2 weeks or every month, then you start looking at that as like, oh wow, man, this is like my own personal piggy bank. Like I can grow it and then I can withdraw it. But if you don't withdraw and if you only compounding, like people have this habit of like, oh man, I'm just going to compound and compound and compound. But if you're never going to withdraw, you're never going to feel the reward of withdrawing. That's the thing. You're always going to get stuck in compounding mode. Even though you're compounding from let's say $1,000 to $10,000, but you're not withdrawing, that means you're not making shit. You're not making money at that point. You're wasting your time. Because if that money doesn't come in your bank, you're just wasting your time. Honestly, that's it. So if someone's here who keeps on compounding and keeps on losing, after compound, just withdraw something, man. Withdraw $50. Go get some Uber Eats or something, but just withdraw something.
Hey, Roger.
Hey.
Hey, it's Yasser here. I do this thing all the time where when I do make something, I always reward myself, like a positive reinforcement. And because the thing is, you do a good trade, you do all this, there's no one to clap and say, well done, son. And I reward myself. So, if I do a good week or if I followed all my rules or whatever, I do reward myself, and it helps my mindset because I'm just rewarding good trade management, good profits, good, even if it's small, I'll take something out every single week, if I've done well and if I've made money,
Yeah, no, that's true. If I lost a percentage of my account over a period of time, what tip would you give to focus on? I would say stop worrying about your losses. What most people do is they come on and they're like, hey man, so I've had a bunch of losses. I've lost my account a couple of times, or maybe like, I've lost over like 20,000 or 30,000 over the last 6 months. I'm going to make those back, or what can I do to make that back? And the fact of the matter is, if you've lost money, you can't look back and say, hey, I need to make that money back. You can't. It's too hard. It's not going to happen, because now you're going to be constantly pressuring yourself. Like every trade you're going to take, you're going to think about, okay, this is a one lot trade I'm taking, which I might make $100, but I have to make this $20,000 back. That's really bad for your mindset. I was involved in the mindset for a very long time, and that's not a very good place to be. Like, when you're constantly pressured to make that loss back. So and then I had to realize that, okay, if I had the losses, those losses are done. There's nothing can bring those losses back. It's over. You have to start fresh. Whenever you take losses, never think about making those losses back. Always think about, now I have to start fresh. I have to focus on what I can do today. And trust me, it seems really hard, but once you start focusing on what you can do today, man, you start getting better and better. Like you have to detach yourself from the losses you've had before. It's very, very important for your mindset. Thanks, Uncle Ted, for the Zoom yesterday. Ooh. If you compound next day, you wake up if you're broker under administration. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Man, people have some very complicated things to think about.
I make the
Oh, so, there's audio, he's just not talking. Okay, let's take a look. Will it continue down or will it retrace? Interesting question. Let's take a look at this. Oh, wrong chart, man. Come on. Come on. All right, USD CAD. If 30-minute close below support, good chance for nice sells. That is correct. That is correct. So we have 3 guests lined up for consecutive Fridays. One is a financial doctor. He's basically a financial guru. He gives like finance advice. Another, we have a um, Canadian Football League champion, Johnny. I'm not sure if Johnny is here or not. I think he was busy. And the third one, we have Forex tips. Forex tips. Um, yeah, so we're gonna reach out to them. I'm gonna reach out to Forex tips as well, see if they wanna come on as a guest. Yeah, because I think people who do well in certain industries, I think it's really important to look to see, what their outlook is on different things. What's this chart here? This is a sell someone took this one as soon as it broke the support level. Stop loss 10 pips. Oh, nice, man. You got a very nice move here. It's beautiful. Yeah, Forex tips. She purchased the magic keys, and once I saw the order come in, I was like, oh, interesting. And then I reached out to her, and then yeah, it's good. Your voice sounds like Jack Johnson. I don't know who Jack Johnson is.
He's a singer.
Oh, someone can probably tell Jack Johnson, hey, your voice sounds like Raja Banks. Gonna say, ooh, who's Roger Banks? Do you think Magic Keys will be back in stock June? They're gonna be start sending out first week of June. What's the journal website again? I'm sorry, there is no such thing as a journal website. So let's take a look at this chart over here. Oh, nice buys, beautiful. I don't know if I close my trade or I will wait for my TPs. Well, that's for you to decide what you want to do with this trade. Because if you take a trade and you don't know what to do with it, then appreciate your thoughts on my Euro JPY sells. Cheers, mate. Well, well, well. Looks like it's retracing. I think on your JPY, if I take a look at your JPY, it retraced, right? It made a low over here. It made a low. It retraced to a former resistance. And if you see a candle closing bearish, oh, 15-minute close bearish. So I think it's going to come down to retest the low here. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to retest the low here. So we're going to keep an eye on this here. GJ is still ranging. Yeah, really expecting US 30 to drop. That's what I'm expecting. Took my first trade yesterday. It was pretty scary. What's this? GPNZD entry on break of candle top after close. Yeah, it looks good. You're taking it on a support here on the 1 hour, and there's a clean range to go up over here. I think you can make it. But if it starts retracing, you can turn the song on. I might not make it. Ooh, 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 I might not make it. If 15-minute breaks the low of the previous, you enter sells, or do you think it's ranging, wait for a break? See, it's very tricky. The 15-minute has broken the low, but I'd want to see a 30. That's why, like, you'd want to see a 30-minute closing bearish, because that's going to give you much more stronger confirmation, the 30-minute. All right, what's this? All right, since it's Friday and we want to help people, so I want to see some charts that are in deep drawdown, and we want to kind of help you guys how to manage that deep drawdown trade. Okay, your USD entered, arrow pointing in the middle of the air over here. Would it continue down or retrace up a lot? Better to cut now? Question mark. That's up to you. If you think you can cut right here, secure profits, that's up to you. And I mean, you don't even have any zones drawn, so that tells me a lot about your technical analysis, actually. Let's take a look here. This is GP 15-minute. Yeah, I don't even know, man. I don't even know what's going on over here. I mean, if you look at this chart, and if you look at this chart, there's big difference between these two charts. Big difference, so labeling wise. Just say something stupid, I'm sure he will make a funny. Oh, no, not really. How many? Should we take trades one? What? Should we take trades one at a one or can take multiple? Should we take trades one at a time, I think? Yeah, it's totally up to you. There's been a plane crash. Oh yeah, there's been a plane crash. 99 people died. Wow. So sad.
I got that notification before. I didn't want to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, planes are scary, man. Planes are scary. That's the
Mhm.
thing. I mean, if you're in a plane, something happens, you know this is it.
Yeah, man.
Just just start counting down. It's just so scary. I think we have seen for a couple of weeks now that usually Fridays are no trading days, so people should chill and watch. Forex will still be here next week. Yes, this person deserves a cookie. That's a very excellent statement to make. That Friday should be a no trading day, and just understand that trading will be here on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Raja, aren't you from Pakistan? I don't know if that's a question or comment. Looks like a twin one, but yes. I entered because the support was broken and retested. I think the support was just broken and there was no retest because the candle were bearish and there was no retest. This could have been a retest right here, this candle here, but this too had no wick at the bottom. Dogs don't eat cookies. I'm new to your channel. Is your strategy price action? Yes, yes, Mr. Jamal Ahmed. So my strategy is this. Is very simple strategy. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my abilities. My strategy is that if price breaks this resistance, I want to know where price will move next, right? And then I know that, okay, if price breaks this resistance, I think the next place for price to go may be 131.200 or 131.300. So if I measure how far that is, 131.200 is 20 pips away, 131.300 is 30 pips away, right? So now check this out. If price breaks above 131, let's say 131, then I know that I can take a buy and I can take this move going up to 131.200. That's my strategy. That's what I'm waiting for. But I want a candle to break and close above 131 for that to happen. And at the same time, now since I'm a smart trader and I like to sound smart sometimes, I also would want to draw a support here as well. Because if price breaks down, I want to catch this move going down. And I'm going to look for the same thing when price goes down. I'm going to look for a candle to break and close below 130, 700, and then try to take a sell, continue moving down. So someone may ask, oh, hey Raja, so what will your target be if price starts to go down? And my target is going to be somewhere over here around 130, 600, so we'll see. We'll see about that. Well, we'll see when price actually starts breaking down, then we're going to start looking at sells. But for now, we're just in the range here, and that's about it. So that's my strategy. But then, it's not that simple. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, reading candles and seeing what candles are doing, how they're printing, what do they mean, stuff like that. So that was just a basic overview. Can you explain how you trade? Ryan, I just did. I mean, if you watch every live stream, you'll know exactly how I trade. I mean, such a intelligent question. I mean, every live stream. You go watch my live stream, every loss I've taken, every win I've taken, it's basically how I trade. If the breakout candle rockets up to 131.200, would you stay out? Yes. Because if it rockets up to 131.200, then there was no way for me to catch it, right? So wouldn't that strategy also be a support resistance strategy? Well, that's exactly what it is. It's just support resistance. it's all support resistance. Like if you look at how head and shoulders are made, they're all support resistance. And Charlene is saying, really, people, with all these questions? Charlene, this is why you are over here. You are in the main playing area, and then we have the gulag. YouTube is the gulag. So that's why two things are separated. Do you think with the Pakistani airline crash, it will have an impact on Pakistan currency? I think if there was someone important on the plane, like a financial minister or something like that, then that would have impacted the currency. Yeah. Will you wait for low to be respected after close? Yes. So right now seems like it's coming down. Your JPY is still hanging in there, and I mean, yeah, if it closes below this area, could see a potential price coming down here for like 13, 14 pips. But ideally, I would want this support to be broken. Do you have a mentor? Yes, Uncle Ted. Ooh, should I buy gold now? Yeah, go ahead. You can buy gold, solid gold. That's running out of. Solid gold. People are just buying it like crazy. How many pips you need to move the stop loss to break even? That's up to you. Aborted the approach to Karachi due to problems with extension to landing gear while in second approach. Crew declared Mayday. Oh wow, they lost both engines. Drop from GJ was fire. Yes. Surprise, no one. Just look on where is Jeevan. Jeevan is probably in his bed. Most people fail on support resistance because they don't look at multiple time frames, like analysis. If you backtest on one time frame, there's a lot of fake break support resistances. Yes, so you need to factor in all the time frames. When you're trading, you need to factor in everything. If you're looking at the 1 hour, you see 1 hour is ranging now, right? It's ranging. There's no benefit to trade in the range. If you look on your JPY, it's trending down, but it's really having issues in this area over here. So when you don't see something beautiful on the charts, you just need to wait until it shows up. Trust me, man, you just need to wait. The right one will always show up in your life. That's something about discipline. If you're looking at this chart, we're ranging, you just gotta wait. If you wanna find someone you can love and marry, you just gotta wait. When the time is right, he or she will come around and you're gonna be happy or not so happy. When you've lost enough, you learn to wait. Yes, I think the tuition you pay to learn to wait is a very heavy tuition. You're like, oh man, I should have just waited all this time. Yeah. You take entry when the candle broke or closed. We'll see. I'd want to see, mainly I want to see a support or resistance to be formed. That's when I take entry. Got in GG sells at 131.497. Learned a lot from the live stream. This has been the best education in my trading journey. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Raja, will you consider sells on this range to retest this, at least the support? Once this candle, because the way I'm looking at GJ, I think the last 15-minute candle of this hour is gonna make this drop toward support, and then the new 1 hour candle at 8 a.m. is gonna make the drop, breaking that support. Do you think you will consider this sell once this 30-minute break below the previous one?
If this was like a Wednesday or a Thursday, I would consider the sell.
Okay.
But since it's Friday, I'm probably gonna wait to break below 130, 700.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's see here. So, thoughts on this chart, please, Tiger, Mr. Tiger. Yeah, it does seem like it should continue moving bearish. So this is GPJPY 1 hour chart. Waiting for price to break this level, enter after retracement. Yeah, I think I'm basically looking at the same thing over here, and I'm looking for price to break below, 130,700 for it to continue moving down to this area here, 130, 500, 136, 650 to 500. That's what I'm looking at. Kind of like extending the target here a little bit. I think that would be a very, very good move if you break below 13700. Because right now, essentially, if you're trying to take a sell over here in the range, you're basically playing the range. You're basically taking a sell within the range, and taking trades within the range, it's risky in itself, especially when it's Friday. It gets a little bit more risky. I mean, you might win it, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah, I agree it's risky. I just wanted to play this range because I started to see, this clean break and then this kind of retest. Then we're forming the M arc prior the next move towards support, and then continue moving to the downside. So basically, that's why I took it was a small sell, just to test something at 131 flat, and I'm expecting this 15 minute, like I said before, to retest this previous support, the fresh support that we have here. But let's see if it's gonna play. So far, my stop losses are break even, and I'm gonna let it run for the last 15 minutes of this hour candle to see. Basically, what I want to see is a break of support with the new hour at 8 a.m.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
But it's a dangerous game to play range,
Yeah, very dangerous game to play in the range.
You have to be experienced to play with this.
What's this here? Could you please hypothetically explain how you would enter a trade once the support resistance would break? I mean, would you wait for a close to enter or the flow? It depends, like I have a lot of live streams on my channel. You can basically go watch those streams and see where I enter or exit the trade. If you don't want to do that and spend time, you can go to my Instagram, and I've posted a lot of my trades on Instagram with videos. So that those also explain when I'm entering, when I'm exiting. So all your questions are answered on my Instagram, basically. That's like, yeah, I mean, just be a little proactive. The GP 15 minute entry TP it's very bad. GP, your GP here, like you have resistance here, and yeah, it's all sorts of problems over here to the left. So I think this could be your trade here. Confirmation to sell. Ooh, someone found confirmation to take a sell. 30-minute close bearish, confirmation to sell. Wrong. 30-minute went down, it created a low. So you'd want to see, well, this is a 4-hour chart, so you need to send a 30-minute chart. Actually, let's take a look at it. Let's be nice today. You know, it's Friday, and Friday we should be nice. Where's your USD? See, I don't even have your USD. I don't even trade your USD. 30-minute close bearish. 30-minute is about to close bearish, and I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, if the 30-minute closes bearish, you're gonna have your stop above the 30-minute candle, like 8 pips, 7, 8 pips, and then expecting price to continue moving bearish. Let's see what the Chinese indicator is saying here. This is obviously for shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits. So you see right here, this is euro is very, very weak. Yen is very, very strong. So this says that it should continue moving down, right? So we're going to now use this as confluence. So if the euro is weak and the dollar is a little stronger, so this means for it to continue down, you want this to close bearish candle. If it does not close bearish candle, I think for it to continue down is going to be very, very hard. And looks like the dangerous game is becoming even more dangerous if you are in sells with no stop loss. On GJ. Hey, please, may I send my chart for your analysis? Yes. In a normal day, if you don't achieve your goal during NY Open, will you try it on another session open, or would you skip to the next day? I will skip to the next day. My goal for the day is not about making X%. It's not about making a certain amount. My goal for the day is to execute 1 or 2 trades and try to win trades. That's it. That's my whole goal. I think your goal changes over time. Yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was talking about like how me trading US 30 is now breaking my plan, something along those lines. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But trading has now become so easy and so simple with GPJPY, and now I'm maybe like trying to challenge myself with something that's more difficult than this. You know, and US 30 is a very difficult pair. Like if you look, like I was looking for sells, and sells never formulated, so I'm just like, okay, whatever. But if they would have formulated, I would have taken sells, but it started moving up. You know, moved up 100 points. So like, you know, it's just like something, it's difficult and I want to try it, but I'm trying it with caution. That's the thing. When you say close bearish, do you mean that if it needs to close in the lower part of the candle range? I don't know. That's like too much thinking over there. I think you need to send a chart. You need to send a chart based on that question. Alright, let's check gold. Gold, fake out. You're in sells coming down. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. US 30 is a Fibonacci pair. Okay, perfect. Thoughts on this chart? Let's take a look here. So this is Euro New Zealand. Rejection of 1 hour resistance. Okay, waiting for 30-minute candle to close bearish. For sells, pink line. Yeah, this would make sense. I think a close below pink line would make sense for price to continue down. That would make sense. How reliable is the Chinese indicator? It's not reliable at all. I mentioned it before I showed it. We got 4 minutes left. I'm gonna be right back here. Let's see. I notice sometimes you wait for candle to break the support if you're looking for sells, but sometimes you put stop order below support. Yeah, it depends on different situations. Depends on different situations.
Hey, Raja.
Hey,
I'm off. Thank you kindly for an excellent week, and you, Monty, as well.
all right, perfect, perfect. Thank
Take
you
care,
so
brother.
much.
Stay strong. Take care.
How is EJ going to fly? It's ranging, dog. Yes. On which website do we get US30 news? Forexfactory.com, you're looking at the USD news. Sell GBP JPY. Well, it seems like it's in a very good area to take a sell because like prices, this candle is closing bearish and you're expecting the next candle to probably make a wick up and then continue moving down. That could be a very, very good move. But you have to go in with a lower risk. One, it's a Friday. Two, on Friday you have some moves that don't make sense. But for this to happen, this would make perfect sense for it to do what we just drew over here with the New York open push.
Yeah, man. Basically, that's what I want to see on GJ. But it's Friday.
Yeah, it would be nice
Crazy.
if it did the same thing as London Open.
Yeah, we got that beautiful move in London.
So I was kind of looking for a bit of consolidation and another push, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So if the stop loss makes sense to me, I can anticipate candle to break then leave and go in my direction. That's the situation I'll be looking for. Yes. The number one thing is to know your stop loss. After the downturn from Asian, the retracement on the 1 hour looking for buys if price close above the range. Yeah, that's true. But if you see a resistance formed, then price may continue down to retest the low. So that's something you have to keep in mind as well. I've noticed that once a high or low is tested, it becomes very tricky to catch the retest again. That is also true. The first retest is the best retest. So now if you see GJ candle, this is closing like a 30-minute, like it's pulling up its pants. If you look on the 15-minute, 15-minute is still bullish. So you would want a close below 138.50 for price to continue moving bearish. Even though the 1 hour closed like a doji candle, it seems like we may break up, because the previous one was bullish. 30-minute closed bearish, but it didn't close strong bearish. So I think the likelihood of sells is pretty weak. I've noticed price tends to move a lot in the last couple of minutes of the 30-minute candle, especially if the 1 hour is about to close. So is it a good idea to take a trade a couple minutes before close if you have strong bias? Yes, absolutely. If you've watched, see, here's the thing. If you have watched it happen enough, then you're going to start taking trades on it. Because I watched the same thing on the 4-hour candles, Now, I hope no one takes it as in it's written in stone, but sometimes you'd see that the volume comes in the last 15 minutes of the 4 hour, or in the last half hour. So maybe in the last 15 minutes of this hour, because this is the last hour of the 4 hours, there's going to be some volume in, and then it depends on how the candles have formed, and then you can kind of anticipate that, okay, now we'll start pushing up or down based on how the candles are formed. Thoughts on 420 stocks with recent higher trend? Yeah, I think 420 stocks are going to keep going up. Oh wow, looks like US30 is coming up over here. Looks like we're going to tap into 24560. It's like another 100 points away. If you see a good setup, but the range is a bit small, do you take it? No. No. You need to have enough range to take a trade. Um, Candles to the left on 4-hour chart and GJ look clean to go down. Yes, but it doesn't mean you're going to take a sell because the smaller time frames are still ranging. How can I join Asian session with you? You cannot join the Asian session with me. What you can do is you can, Paul hosts a stream for the Asian session. If you want to join a stream, you can join that stream. If you remember last week, GJ broke support, went very bearish. Yes, I do remember that. And the way the candles are forming, it doesn't look like. I'm not too sure that's going to do the same thing today. I think it might start pushing bullish if it stays above number one, 137.20, number two, 138.50. Especially if it goes above, 131. Man, the Spanish people talk so fast.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like quick. Euro CHF 1-hour close bearish and you're looking for sells. I think this looks good, Euro CHF. I think it looks good. Do you recommend 1.5 years of experience to trade news events? I would say trading news events. I'd say just don't trade news events. That's going to be my best advice to you if you're looking to trade news events. GJ will long to 131.250. I think you might be right. 131.250, 131.300. Like once we see a break above 131, then it's off to the races going up. Do you think that round numbers like 131 make a strong resistance? Yeah, it makes sense here too, technically as well. So if you see how 15 minutes are printing, just side by side. Do you think? Man, I don't think a lot. See, right now prices are just ranging, so there's nothing to think about. There's just really nothing to look at the charts at all. How do you navigate those wicks on GJ from M15 from the top of the range? When do they not become a concern? Well, once you have a price closing above this area, then they don't become a concern. Do you trade NFE with YOLO count? Sometimes, yes. Let's take a look at the first big drop from resistance on Euro USD. Well, if you send a chart, we can take a look at that. The music today is fire. Thank you, thank you. I just updated my
Yeah, that's just
music.
how.
Oh, do you think price action of GJ is better than GU? It depends. Depends what's happening. I mean, in GU, if the US dollar is strong and GP is just, ranging, then GU is going to go down and GJ is going to range. So it depends. Don't trade today. It's Give Back Friday for sure. Yes. Fridays are no goods to trade most of the time. So what you can do is you can put your hands over your head like Monty and you can just relax.
You just got to sit back and wait, right?
Yeah, basically. How much do you sleep per week? I think I sleep like 5 hours a night. Feelings from the gulag, GJ drop, Asian London feeling it should pull back. Yeah, I think so too. I think the sells, they look much better, but I've seen GJ do these moves. It shows you something very nice, which is too good to be true. And then GJ so I'm just being very cautious of this. I do think we're going to continue moving bullish here. Don't you get sleepy or your body just got used to 5 hours? Yeah, my body got used to 5 hours. Sometimes if I feel sleepy, I take a nap in the daytime. For about
Yeah. All about them
20-minute naps.
power naps. Power naps.
We need free mentor by he. Trust me, you will still not succeed. That free mindset gets you nowhere in life. Trust me on that. Could you name the Asian session? Wish to join it? Yes, it's in the Asian session. Just YouTube trading with Paul. Sitting around doing nothing. I think I was born to trade. Basically, sitting around doing nothing. If I'm a swing trader, should I take ECN 0.1 pip spread account? Well, it's up to you. Trappers don't sleep, we nap. Yes. Are you ending your fast this weekend or is it next? It's this weekend. 5 hours is too little for 99% of people. Yes. I wish I could sleep less because I have too much to do. You trade BTC and why? No, I don't because I don't trust it. Hey, can you post me some quality herb to the UK? I can't. You might get in trouble. CAD JPY broke resistance. Can you check it? Nope. You need to send a chart. Your JPY 30-minute took a buy based on higher highs and higher lows. Looks like it's continuing bullish over here. Oh yeah, looks like it's breaking up. It's continuing up. I think there's a very high chance for price to continue to 117,440. Yeah, I think you might have something here. I think one area that's going to be a problem area is going to be somewhere around here, 117,330, 117,320 once you get in that vicinity. So yeah, I think it's a fair trade. I also think that this move up is too early in this hour. So if you have your stops at break even or somewhere over here, then I think it's good. Because one thing you have to keep in mind is that this candle can come back down, creating this top wick. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Plus it's Friday, so I'd recommend. Where's your stop? Yeah, I'd recommend if it comes down to your entry. If this was me, I would close 50%. Do you have a tip for somebody who lost money trading for 1 year? I think the biggest tip I can give to somebody who's lost more than $5,000 is to invest in education. You know, if you can afford to lose $5,000, I think you can afford to invest in some sort of education. It's really, really important. Man, some dude messaged me this morning. I have his messages here. I was about to post it on Instagram, but I'm going to post it later on. And he said, "Hi Raja, been following you for some time, for some quite time now. Been losing money in Forex like 66,000 4 years as to date. And this year has been craziest year in 3 months, losing 23,000. Just want to ask how you only trade 2 to 3 pairs, specifically GJ. What's the mindset? I like your consistency. Hope to be consistent someday. Keep up the good work." When you're losing that much and you're not getting any education, why? Why, man?
It's tough.
Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you have so many resources at your disposal. I mean, if someone is losing close to 70,000 and you're afraid to invest something in education, man, doesn't make any sense.
How long was that over? 2 years?
4 or 5 years.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
You know, the only reason I signed up to Ted's mentorship when I first started, I think it was $350, $400. The only reason I signed up with him was because before that I deposited $200 in my account and I blew it. And then I said, okay, either I can pay him and learn, or I can lose more. And and then
Yeah. I made money.
I made
I
money.
bought 6 cars from that money.
God damn.
I bought 6 cars, 3 homes, took trips around the world with that $350.
Wow.
One car for each of my ego.
Yep. I needed a car for each one of my fingers, so I was like, hey, if I have like 50 people sign up to my $300 course, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I think it was a very, very good thing to get some education.
Man, people rip me off like crazy.
Yeah, I got ripped off too.
I get ripped off, man. People still message me. I'm like, man, after 5 years, that $300 went a long way.
Yeah. Hey, I joined 5 years ago. Can I come back in?
Yeah, no, people message me still. I think it's good though. I mean, like we always said that you want to make friends and have that camaraderie before anything. But I just always laugh because when people talk about paying fees and saying that they've been ripped off, it's like, man, if you think about the one fee that you've paid and you multiply that over a year, you basically you've taken advantage of someone, like almost like slave labor, because no one else would do a regular job. Like no one would be accessible all the time for a one-time payment of like $300 or $400, right? So after a year, if you've been able to get a hold of somebody for a year, man, you've basically you've taken total advantage of them, because there's no job that you would never do a job for $300 for the year.
Nope.
Yeah, sometimes people message me saying, hey, I joined 2 years ago. Can I still come back? I'm like, yeah, sure. Here's the link. Come on in.
Yeah, I got someone joined like 4 years ago, and then they came back. They're like, I've been busy with other things. I want to come back. Where are we? I'm like, oh, you got to come over here and do this. And it's like, yeah.
Moved platforms.
Yeah, we moved platforms. Things have changed.
I don't think I ever left.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Some people just stay in the shadows and pop up once in a while, like Anthony, and say, hey, how's it going? I'm still alive, doing my thing, and it's great too.
I did send you a message, Ted, in December. I haven't even read it yet.
Did you? On what? WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
Oh shit. Oh boy.
Nothing exciting. I'll tell you the date as well. The 5th of December.
Have a good Christmas.
Nearly.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I just see that now. Holy cow.
Wow.
Oh my
I
lord!
just clicked it. He can see it now. He can see I just clicked it now.
That's your
From
mental
the
right
center. Have a good
It's
Christmas,
awesome.
mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Anthony,
yeah.
that
Yes.
you know why? Because you don't have boobies.
Hey,
No, you
after
know
this
what?
lockdown, I will have.
No, I don't. I don't have your phone saved. Your number saved. Is that a different
Oh,
number? Same number, right?
yeah. No, it might be the same number. Who knows?
Yeah. No, because I'm in your group, like your FX group. I just didn't have your number saved, but I know who you are because I talked to you, so I know what it was because we were talking about your cat.
Yeah, we call him Ted.
Yeah, I know. I found that funny. It's like great. Something to always remind your wife of too, right? It's like
Hey, look at my EU bias. Thoughts on it. Let's take a look here. This is support, looking to take a sell with stop loss. Yeah, I think you can maybe like redraw your zones. Maybe put this right down over here, right here. Put a zone up over here. And then you'll have minor zones in the smaller time frames within this range. Yeah, I think that's gonna make much more sense. Because now the zones have changed since you drew this zone, right? Things have changed now. I'm new here. If the candle closes above the range, your entry is when another candle crosses the wick of the previous one. Depends. Depends. If a candle closes above the range, let's say you have a candle closing just like this, you know. Sometimes what I do is, so I would say this is the breakout candle, so I would consider this as a breakout candle. So what I would do is I might want to take a trade, leaving my stop below here and anticipating the next candle to go up. While someone else can say as well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the next candle to form bullish. That's going to go bullish. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for candles to actually start coming bearish. Because when candles start coming bearish, after that what's going to happen is you'll see a candle moving bullish again. And then someone will say, okay, I'm just going to take that retest trade. Then I'm going to take this buy and anticipate price will continue moving bullish. So these are two ways you can go about it. Whether you can go about with the first break, or you can go about after it makes a high, comes down, creates a support, and then you take a buy. So that was some free education over there. How do you get rid of bad trading habits? Just stop overtrading. Stop overtrading. It's really simple. Getting rid of bad trading habits. You just need to force yourself to follow your rules. Everyone has rules, everyone has a trading plan, and everyone's trading plan is set to make them profits. And if you don't follow your trading plan, you will not make profits. Will you be having an advanced training webinar soon, maybe as a follow-up to the last one? Yeah, I've been thinking about it. So far, I just need these restrictions to lift up. I want these restrictions to go away because I'm already behind schedule for the London bootcamp. Everything is just booked for London. It's just on hold. GJ looks nasty, yes. If a candle closes bullish, would you enter buys to fill the range if it's too small? Yeah, it's too small. I'm not going to take a trade here. It's just lately USD CAD has been having really, really bad ranges to trade this week. This wick over here, problem over here, minor resistance over here. So trading in this range is a big no-no. Yeah, it's a big no-no. I mean, you can force a trade if you want, but I just don't want to trade in that range. Same thing with here in GJ, right? If you look at this, I mean, it's just super bad. Raja, do get Ronnie Jeremy FX on the stream. I don't know who that is. Ron Jeremy FX. I don't know who that is.
Oh,
Let me investigate.
Yeah,
Half of
careful
these-
who you search.
I was just thinking that.
Man, half of these people have blocked me by default. See, no
Which-
results found. No, actually. Let's Google this person. People are saying don't look him up.
I'm not sure you should do.
Alright, I'm gonna look him up on my other screen.
Yeah, just in case. It is Friday, to be fair.
He's not on Instagram.
I bet he is.
It's not showing up on Google. It's
Get rid of the FX just in case that's causing a problem.
Oh, I see, Ron Jeremy.
You see a lot around Jeremy.
See, if I search it in Google and this is what showed up, I'm like, this can't be an FX guy. Naughty, naughty. Ron Jeremy. Yeah, people are trying to trick me here with my limited knowledge. What trades you get into today? Today, I didn't get in any trouble. Do you ever have... Man, you guys are old if you guys know Ron Jeremy. Because looks like that dude was in his prime like 50 years ago.
I think he's on VHS.
Yeah, that's right.
VHS. Do you ever have times early in your career where you felt like giving up? Oh, yes. Absolutely. But I guess I was too deep in the game to give up at that time. At that time, I would tell myself, well, Raja, the train has left the station a long time ago. Either you ride it or you die riding it. So I rode the train. I guess I had to learn how to maneuver the train, you know, and that came with being disciplined. That's what it came with. But I'm glad I rode the train, because now I'm maneuvering the train like a champion. Don't feel bad, we're only a few years too young to know Ron Jeremy. Yes. Raja, short question regarding magic keys. If I set a partial TP in a short position, why does it close as soon as the bid price is reached? Because that's when the trade is executed. Why did you switch from Twitch to YouTube? Because Twitch actually banned me. We moved from Twitch because Twitch banned us. And then we went to Mixer. We went to Mixer, and on Mixer what was happening was that most countries could not log on to Mixer. So then we moved to YouTube. And then we moved to YouTube, and we stayed on YouTube. I think the first day on YouTube we had around 100 people. And yeah, and that first month YouTube climbed from 100 people to 500 people. The question is, when is he going to make the switch to Facebook? I don't think that's gonna happen. I have too many nosy people on Facebook which don't want to know what I do. Good morning, folks. Is the Wickfill idea the same as a retest of a support resistance? Yes, that is absolutely true. Why did Twitch ban you? Because we showed a gore video for about 5 seconds. I guess these are all the questions we have for today to answer. It's a very slow day today. So if someone is in a huge drawdown, don't be shy. Just post your chart, and we're gonna try to help you get out of that big drawdown. If a trade is close to hitting your TP and you see it starts to pull back, do you manually take profits? Yes, I manually take profits. Yo, I'm making a month performance analysis spreadsheet on Excel. If you want it, DM me on Slack. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Raja, sir, here is CJ chart. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Oak T Trading. CJ chart. Arrow going up, arrow coming down. Doesn't help anyone. This chart doesn't help anyone at all. Trust me. Trust me on this. It helps nobody. Look at this chart. This still has some labeling on it. This is some garbage analysis here. I mean, come on, man. What's this? Where are you entering? Where's your stop loss? What trade are you taking? This makes no sense at all. This is an amazing. If this is your strategy to trade, I think this is why you're on the stream over here. If this is your strategy to trade. I mean, no. What if I took a trade, and what if I said, okay, guys, I'm taking a trade, and today the trade which we're going to take is this, and then we're going to take a trade like this. Okay, guys? Perfect. That's all we're going to do today. And then I'll just sit back. And if the price goes up, I'll be like, look, guys, price went up. Perfect. This makes no sense. There's no learning over here. There's no cognitive thinking involved. It's just like someone's 2-year-old came on the chart and just drew a line up to match this line and drew a line down to match this line. You need to provide substance. And then people say, oh, Raja is too rude on the chat. No, man, I'm just trying to help you. Okay, someone sent a chart here. GA chart. What's your initial weekly target on GJ? My initial weekly target was, I would say, I was hoping for price to come up to 133,400, but right now we're looking at this over here, so we're just ranging, so we're not sure what's going to happen. We're going to see the weekly target when this weekly candle closes for next week. GA, look at this chart, man. So much better than those lines. Broke through support, entered on 15-minute, close to support. Yeah, I think now you should be careful about this minor support here in the way. It might start ranging, but if it breaks down, then you're coming down here, so it's correct. This TP zone makes no sense at all as well, because you have this support here, you have all this consolidation here, price has to fight through this area. So it's a lot of problems. GJ, 1 hour, bearish tendency since London. I think this is a very, very, very risky trade. Extremely unnecessary, forced trade to take today. This is extremely unnecessary trade. I will repeat. If you're going to take this trade, maybe take it with one position, or maybe take it with 0.25 instead of 0.5. But this is an extremely unnecessary trade. It may play out, don't get me wrong, it may play out, but the reason why I'm saying it's an unnecessary trade is because it's in a range. It's ranging. It's ranging so far, so you have to be careful. Maybe this is going to be your first target area if you're in this sell. 15-minute has to break below this minor support. So you really, really have to lower your risk because it's a Friday as well. So whoever's trying to take a trade on Friday, I would say just lower down your risk by a lot, even by half. Because when Friday ends and you take a loss, you don't want to say, oh man, it was Friday, should have taken less risk. I'm just speaking from experience, on Friday I just take less risk. Why do you not incorporate any technical indicators? Is that because you are that confident? I don't need technical indicators because sometimes they contradict my analysis, so I don't like using them. All indicators are behind prices. Yeah, indicators, they lag a lot. That's the thing. I think the best indicator is your eyes. if you use eyes, you can have a very good trade. Like Alexander here, he sent this chart. Even though I think it's a risky chart, see, he has no indicators. He has his analysis and he's playing off of that. So just simple price action. Um, Indicators lag price, so it will really only tell you something after the move is happening. Yes. Sir, where can I download eyes indicator? I'll give you the secret link. How probable is this wick being filled? GJ 4 hour. See, it's tricky because it's in a range. It's in a range here, so we have to wait how this 4-hour candle is going to close. See, 1 hour is going bearish. It's like if it starts breaking the low here, the previous 1 hour candle, low right here around 138.45, then should continue moving bearish. It's breaking the low. Very good. Looks like Alexander's going to have a win over here. Do you trade Wyckoff and smart money concepts? I don't know what either of those are. When you say wait for a retest after breakout, is your USD a good example of that? You need to send a chart. You don't think the wicks along resistance is an indication for bears? Yes, it is. So these wicks along resistance, it's an indication of bearish pressure. But in my view, I'm not going to execute a trade within this range because it's a Friday. And I don't want to take unnecessary risks on a Friday. GP CAD 30-minute. Waiting for support to be formed, taking entry on next candle if we break previous high. High was created here. Yeah, I think it'll be better to wait for break above this area here. I mean, if you get a nice 30-minute close here, you could still make it work. I don't know if you will answer this, but what's the concept behind the next candle filling the wick of the previous candle? When price is in momentum, it's going to fill the wick. I mean, there are a lot of videos on my YouTube, man. You can go watch those videos. What's it like knowing you have done your 10,000 hours and you are in the realm of mastery and are reaping the benefits of it? It's not about, it's something that Ted was talking about yesterday. And it was like, I deserve to be here because, you know, I've put that time in. I've been through a lot of hoops and bounds, so I deserve to be here. If I win a trade, I deserve to win a trade. If it's like a $500 trade, I deserve it. If it's like a 10,000, I deserve it. You know, so you deserve those things once you've spent time not making money, when you spend time being disciplined, when you spend time just by making like, you know, $50 a day or $100 a day. So whatever good that comes to you, you deserve all of that. You know, some people say, oh, it's too much and this and that. No, man, you deserve all of it. You look at athletes who perform at their best or who perform at their prime. You know, they deserve to be there because they have put in that time and that effort. It shouldn't come to you a surprise that it's happening. The other day, I remember when I first started withdrawing money, I asked Ted, I'm like, hey man, like this is a lot coming in my bank account. I'm scared, you know, like wouldn't the bank stop it? Wouldn't the same thing? Because it has never come in a way this much. And the answer was no. I mean, it's coming. I mean, there's nothing they can do. Mr. Chua Ming has sent a chart here. Entry as it broke the high of the previous candle, your JPY. See, it's a Friday, you have to be careful. It broke the high, but it closed back inside. So when it closed below resistance, the buying idea is invalid, I think. See this resistance. Thank you for answering. I'm about a month in with a blown account and I'm happy to hear those words of motivation. Thank you. I've done over leveraging, messing me up. Once I'm consistent, I'll put a few thousand so I can make decent returns. I think the first thing you need to do, you need to stop following people on Instagram who just go full margin and they make big returns. That's the first thing you need to do. Because watching that, you're really polluting your mindset. Trust me, this I'm not trying to hate or anything like that. It's just facts. You're polluting your mindset with an idea that will may never come true to you. You know, you might think that, oh, there's a 1% chance and I'm that 1%. Good. You know, dreams are good. Everyone has dreams. You should dream all day long, but there's a difference between being realistic and dreaming, you know. So I mean, those things don't, like full margining your account and making thousands of dollars, that's not reality. It doesn't happen. All people talk about is like, oh, you can make this much, you can make. No one talks about how to lose less. You know, like the one answer you get if you ask somebody, hey, how to lose less, the answer is going to be, well, you know what I'm saying? You just got to put time on the charts. You just got to grind, man. Every day, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. You got to back test. Just put in the time, man. And if you put in the time, you know what I'm saying? And you're going to start losing less and you're going to making more. Look at me. Look what I have. Look what I've done. Look what I've done, man. I took this trade. I made this much money. Man, it's just so easy. A time comes, it's easy. You can do this all the time. This is what people talk about. How does this help you, man? I mean, people saying names, this is everybody. Everybody talks about that. Everybody talks about that. Like you look at like guys like Sean Lee, Astro Effect, they're like, look at the trade I got. I got 200,000 pound trade, no drawdown, went to the T, mate. You know, but no one's gonna talk about, hey, how to take less losses, how to do proper analysis. No one talks about that. And it's just so sad, man. It's just so sad that it's not sad that they talk about that stuff. It's sad that people don't use proper reasoning and say that. Like when I used to look at that, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool that you're making this money, but like how do you manage losses? You know, because I'm here as a regular trader, man. I'm taking losses. You know, I'm taking losses, and all y'all are taking wins. How? You know, how are you taking these wins every day when I'm taking losses here all day long? How are y'all taking wins? You know, and those things didn't make sense to me. You know, so the only reason I went with Ted was so ironically when Ted was hosting his webinar back in June 2016, he was going through a big loss. You know, like he ran his account to 90,000, 100,000, and then he lost all that, came down to 9,000, and I still signed with him. I still signed up with him. I never said that, oh no, this dude is losing, I'm not going to sign up with a fucking loser. No, I signed up with him because he showed he made wins and then he showed he made losses. And I'm like, this is a legit open guy, you know, so I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, I remember though. I remember that. That was April. That was April 2016.
Yeah, this is a string of losses. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's taking losses.
Yeah, I just think that you have it's really a mindset shift, and I know we talk about this a lot in terms of trading and things of that nature. But what it comes down to is a lot of people don't believe in themselves when they're trading, and you know what they're doing as a trader. They look at this, and you know they don't have enough. I guess confidence in themselves in general. So now when they win, they're skeptical about how they won, and that's a big thing. And then when they lose, it the losses compound, because essentially what you say is, well, that's to be expected. I wasn't expected to win because trading's too hard anyways. So like I shouldn't be making this money. So this is the right thing. A lot of people have that problem, and I mean it's not something that's of I guess what it comes down to, it's not something that changes overnight. If we want to be frank about that, right? Because a lot of things that you've done in your life are very difficult or very hard, and when you come to trading, trading's also hard. So you assume that you're not going to be good at this as well. I mean, you could say in your head, yeah, I'm going to be good. I'm going to learn how to trade. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But at the end of the day, too, what ends up happening is reality sets in, right? You don't have time to focus on charts. Things aren't going according to plan, items of that nature. So what ends up happening is a lot of people, they're stuck already because they've already hurt themselves when it comes to actually trying to do well, because you've sat back and said, well, this is not possible. They set goals too high. They put themselves in a position where they feel pressured to do things. They tell all their friends that they're a trader, so now all their friends keep tabs on them, so you get pressure on that. So there's a lot of factors that people innately do to hurt themselves, and once you get out of that realm, things become a lot more manageable. You start removing the noise. Like, your friends don't need to know that you're a trader. Your friends don't need to know how much money you make or how much money you lose, because it's not their money. You do that because you want a sense of validation with them, and that's going to hurt you in the end, because of the fact that you're going to tell people these things, and then they're going to say, what's the first thing people say? Well, how much did you lose, or how much did you win? And now you have to start answering those questions, right? Instead of just saying, hey, keep it to yourself, do your thing. People ask you what you do. I work in finance. I work for myself. I own my own business. Be smarter with the way that you approach things, so you relieve that pressure on yourself. Everyone wants to boast about how they do things, and it's like, don't do that, because when things go sour, it's just going to compound that effect. It's going to compound the idea of like, well, should I really be doing this? Because now you're going to hear 10 people turn around and speak up on you and say, well, see, I told you that wasn't going to work. I told you you couldn't do it. I told you all this. And it's like, those people were never in your corner to begin with. You're now fighting against people that were never going to support you in any which way. And that's what I always try and tell people is just keep it to yourself. You're going to do well. You're going to be successful. Keep it to yourself. Nobody needs to know how much money you're making. No one needs to know how much money you're losing. Nobody really needs to know anything about your life. Be smart about that. Just put yourself in a position where you say, hey, I don't really need to tell people what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, if you're going to be good at something, don't. I guess what it is don't look at past events in a negative situation. Um, don't do this. Don't look at things that you failed at and say, well, I'm probably going to fail at this as well. Look at the reason why you failed at something and say to yourself, okay, if I'm going to do FX, I'm not going to do those same things that I failed at. So as an example, my friends play online poker. A lot of my friends are very, very good online pokers. They're very good online poker players. I tried online poker. I wasn't good at it. But the reason why I wasn't good at it wasn't because I didn't know how to play. It's because I wasn't honest with myself. I wasn't showing up on Sundays to play all the major tournaments like my friends were. I wasn't joining the study groups during the week like my friends were. I was watching TV, I was working, I was doing other things. So I was cheating myself. And then I would see my friends make all these deep runs in these tournaments, and I'd say, wow, man, you know, like I know these guys, so I should be as good as they are because I know them. And that wasn't the case. So what I did was I took a step back and said, okay, I'm not going to be a professional poker player. I'm not going to be a professional poker player, but I can be a recreational poker player. So what I can do is I'm not going to play all the big events that my professional friends play. I'm going to play smaller events. I'm going to play recreational style. I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to make money because I have a job. I'm not going to be able to travel like them. I mean, I didn't like traveling to begin with, but I'm not going to be able to go to these tournaments that they're going to. I'm not going to be playing all these events. I'm just going to pick and choose, but I'm going to hang out with them. I'm going to have fun, but I'm going to play within my means. And when people look at that, it's the same thing with trading. When I started trading, I realized that it had a lot of similar concepts to what my friends were doing when they were playing online poker in terms of strategy sessions, in terms of study, in terms of understanding, in terms of repetition. So when I did that, suddenly now I said to myself, if I'm going to make a run at this, I have to change what I did when I started to learn online poker and do this for trading and be better. The difference was with trading, none of my friends were doing this. So there was no bar. There was no set bar on how much I should be making, how long should I be trading for, what I should be doing. I set my own parameters. And that idea, by setting my own parameters, allowed me to do what I do without any noise. Nobody was doing what I was doing. So nobody really told me that I was doing it wrong. I would swing up and down 20% in a week. I would take losses, I would take wins, I would try and compound my account. I didn't care because I was comfortable with the way I was trading. I had the money to trade the money that I was trading, and I believed in myself because I started to see what was happening and it was working for me. My first big test was when I lost 90,000 in basically a week. I had 125,000. I went down to 9,600. And I still remember because we had meetings on Sundays live here in the city, and I had to explain to everybody how I lost $90,000 in 1 week. And it was trading the news, going against trends, over leveraging my account. But it didn't faze me. I didn't get upset that I lost 90,000 in the sense that I failed. I knew what I did wrong, and all I had to do was not do that again. Right? When the stove is hot and you touch the stove, you don't touch the stove again. You don't turn around and walk by the stove and double check to see if it's hot. You know innately the stove is hot. So a lot of mistakes that I made in trading were one-time errors, two-time errors. That was it. Over leveraging my account, that was stupid. Never did it again. Never had to. Right? Because I knew the errors in my ways. Building the account back up was easy. Why? Because I looked at my journal. I looked at the trades I did to make the money to get up there, and I just looked for those trades again. That's all I did. I focused on all my wins. I knew what my losses were. I made notes about my losses. I knew all that stuff. And people looked at that and they say, well, how's that possible? Well, you have to make a choice. You either are going to stop fucking up, or you're actually going to, you're just going to quit. That's your choice ultimately. Nobody can help you with that decision. No one can stop you from over trading. No one can stop you from over leveraging. You have to make that conscious choice and say, hey, listen, if I'm going to make it as a trader, I have to start following my plan. I can't break my rules. And that's basically what I did. I chose, for a year after losing that money, I didn't trade the news. I watched people trade the news. I watched people do things. And it was just like, yeah, never doing that again. And people are like, oh man, but that was just one time. I'm like, doesn't matter. I lost 90,000. I'm never doing that again. I'm never putting myself in that position when I lost. I don't want to be in that position ever again. Did it hinder potential wins? Sure. But it also protected me from potential bigger losses. Right? So when you look at that and you look at the journey, that's years of work. That's, the last 5 years of work. And then people say, well, how do you win the majority of your trades? Well, today I didn't take any trades. Yesterday, I think this week I've had one losing trade. Let's see, I took a trade on DGI the other day and I lost $12,000. But the rest of my trades were wins. But, the thing is, that one loss, why did I take the loss? I know exactly why I took the loss. I looked at the market. I was looking to take, what was it here? It was a sell on US 30, and there was really a lot of pushing with technicals, but I was going with fundamental information. I was going with the fact that the Dow was dropping, and it technically did drop, but it was way later on in the day. So I lost that trade from risk management standpoint. So now I know, don't buck against that trend, even if the actual market is in the negative. It doesn't necessarily represent all of US 30 at that point. So I took a loss. It didn't bother me. It was just more the fact that I have to be more cautious. And every time I take a loss, I add that to my notebook, my journal, whether it's mentally or whether I make a note on my desk. Just be aware of this. Be aware of this time. Be aware of this information. Be aware of this market structure. And you make notes for yourself because you will understand them the best, and you will understand what makes sense for you in that respect. Oh, there are my losses. Yeah.
Man, this
Yeah,
is
like-
a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, they're like a 3 lot on $1,300. People are like, that's over leveraging. That's crazy. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better. I had $800 in my account. I figure, why not? That made sense to me. I liked the trade. It made sense. I took the trade. I mean, people can sit there and criticize, and people do. They go through my old Instagram and they criticize. They're like, well, look what you did here. Look what you did there.
Mhm.
Right. But as I got smarter, I started to realize that this wasn't sustainable, that maybe I got lucky, right? Maybe the market, I got lucky in that aspect with the market at that point.
Experience learning curve, right?
Yeah, and you know what? There was nobody telling me what I was doing was wrong, because I was doing it on my own. I did what I did because it was working for me. When I teach now, and over the years I've taught, I've changed my approach. Like, people blast me all the time about what I used to do and how I used to do it, and it's like, yeah, but I adapted. I changed my philosophy. I worked on certain things, and I realized, and this was the biggest takeaway that I had, is not everything that I did someone else could do. So I had to change my approach to teaching and teach for the majority, not the minority, right? Like, I forget, there's people that are here that are 21, 22 years old that have never played poker, that have never stepped foot in a casino, that have never gambled, that have never understood risk management. So they could never do what I did. Like, for me, when it's just, when you trade, I'm used to risk management in general. I'm always aware of what my maximum loss is going to be. at any given time, I can tell you to the dollar when I'm taking a trade what I'm comfortable losing. And then people say, well, that's a huge number. For me, it's not, because I know statistically in the long run, I'm going to make more than that because I've done it before. But that's just me. That's my confidence. That's my ability to trade. You know, people say, well, should I risk 5% of my account? Should I risk this amount? You can risk any amount that you want. Are you comfortable swallowing that loss? Like I when I was a cowboy back in my heyday, back in like 2015, man, I could risk 15, 20% of my account at any given time. I was fine with it because I saw the upside. I saw the potential to smash 20% of my account. I'd make a 40 or 50% return on it. Yeah. Can everybody do that? No. So is it right for me to teach that way? No, because mentally you're not going to be able to handle it. I used to sit at a poker table with $1,000 and put all my chips in the middle on one hand. It just happens, right? Win or lose. There's only two options at that point. You know, did it bother me? No, because when I put my money in the middle, I assume that I'm ahead in the hand, which 95% of the time I was always ahead. And when I did that, I allowed variance to take its course, right? If I lost, I replayed the hand and I checked the percentage that I should be winning. If I was a 70 or 80% plus favorite when the cards were being thrown onto the table, I will do that every single time. It didn't faze me to lose $1,000 2 times out of 10. It never fazed me because statistically, I knew 8 times out of 10, I would win all my money plus more at that point. And that's how I always traded. If I looked at a 4-hour time frame and 3 4-hour time frames were bearish, statistically, based on my analysis, the third 4-hour time frame would be bearish. So I wouldn't care about the retracement because I knew statistically I would come out ahead. It's just a matter of stats. It's a matter of probability. People can sit here and argue that, ask for variables. It was very straightforward. Once you've done something enough times, you realize where your mathematical edge is and where you're statistically a favorite. I know on Fridays I'm not a statistic favorite to win trades. I'm not a good trader on Friday, so I stay away from the market on Friday. It doesn't mean that I can't trade on Fridays. It just means I have to be aware of that. It's a similar game when I go play poker. If I go play in a 50, 100 no limit game, I know there's guys sitting there with $300,000. I have to be willing to lose 100,000 in that game to play effectively. If I'm not willing to lose 100,000, I can't play in that game. I can't sit in the game. I can't sit in the markets with a slight air of non-confidence. Let's put it that way. If I'm not confident in what I'm doing, I can't take a trade. I can't sit there and guess. I can't sit there and feel unsure. I have to feel 100% sure in the decisions that I make. Otherwise, there's the hesitation. I shouldn't have taken the trade. And that's when you get to that level, you'll realize what that feels like. That you have no pressure. Like I see Rakeel take trades here all day. I don't take a trade. I don't knock him also for taking trades because that's his comfort level. I can't sit here and say, well, Rakeel, why did you take that trade? What was your mindset there? It's his innate ability now. It's his experience that allows him to make confident trades. If I'm not confident in that trade, I don't take it. Sometimes our confidence matches. The idea matches, so we both take the exact same trade. Sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't mean that one of us is wrong and one of us is right. It's our comfort level and our confidence and our approach to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And when you break through in that mentally, you'll see trading opens up to you because suddenly you're like, yeah, Ted and Rakeel are idiots. I don't like what they're doing. I'm doing it this way and this is working for me. And that's exactly how you want to approach everything that you do in life. Take from what people have shown, make it your own, and leave those people. Leave them. Don't be influenced by them anymore, because you've grown. You've learned how to do things yourself. You don't need reassurances, right? When you go get a job, you don't go back to your parents and say, hey, mom and dad, can I borrow $50? Right? Because you have a job now. You're self-sustaining. It makes no sense for you to go borrow money when you have money. It makes no sense for you to question your trades if you're trading profitably. Why do you have to question them? You don't. Why do you have to go confer with somebody about trades that you won? You don't have to do that anymore. You're on your own, spreading your wings, you're flying. That's where you need to be. And you block out the noise and you just do what you do. And maybe you make $100 a week, maybe you make 100,000 a week. That's fine. You deserve everything that you put forward. And don't think that you're 22 years old and you can't earn 10,000 a month. Don't think that way, because right away when you do that, you limit your ability to be effective in the market. The market doesn't care about your age. The market doesn't care about your money. The market cares about you making right and wrong decisions, because that's how you either profit or that's how you take losses. So when you look at that and your friends are all in university, or they're all working at their job earning $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year, and you're doing that in a month or you're doing that in a week, you can't punish yourself for that. You can't turn around and be upset. You can't say, well, this isn't normal. That's normal for you, right? You see Raja's results, you see my results, people look and they're like, oh man, you did so well in a month. Yeah, I should be doing well. Like, why not? Why is this a surprise? This shouldn't be a surprise. And it's that kind of mentality that really hurts people, because you say to yourself, well, that's impossible. No, it's not. It's not impossible. Jeff Bezos will be a trillionaire. That's not impossible. It's very possible. The problem is you're equating your current state to someone else's current state. You can't do that. You can't turn around and say because you can't do it that someone else can't. That's the hardest thing that you're going to learn as a trader. And your friends are going to be around you and they're going to be going to McDonald's and you're going to a luxury steakhouse. That's fine. That's what you deserve. You're going to drive a luxury automobile or a supercar, and your friends are going to drive a compact car or an economy car. That's fine. It doesn't change who you are. It means your work ethic was different. It means that you got to where you got to because of what you did. And the more you put yourself in that position, the better off you're going to feel. And you're not going to hurt yourself in that way. A lot of people do hurt themselves because they say, well, my friends are poor, so that means I shouldn't be successful. Or, this person does this on social media, so I have to do it. You don't. What if you're a part-time trader and you earn $1,000 a month and you work at a job that you love? Is that wrong? Have you failed as a trader because you work part-time and you trade part-time? Have you failed? Who defines failure? And more importantly, who defines success? Right? So when you look at that and you look at what people are doing or how they're doing things, really take a deep breath and say to yourself, hey, I'm successful based on my current results, based on what I can do on my own, based on how I do things. And when you get to that point, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. And I think a lot of people need to hear that more often. More importantly, a lot of people just need to focus on themselves, because that's going to bring you the ultimate goal. I mean, I look at people and people say, well, I want to trade full time. And I say, why? If you like what you're doing in your job, why do you have to trade full time? Well, that's what everybody else does. Doesn't matter. Take more vacation days. Simple. Just do things to support yourself. You make $500 a week. That's successful in your mind. That's perfect. Don't look at your success compared to someone else's. You know, maybe you make $100 a week trading, but you have an awesome boyfriend or girlfriend. You have a very good family life. You know, you're very healthy. Maybe there's success in other aspects of your life that you just don't realize. You know, when you look at that, just take a step back and really evaluate your entire life. Not every aspect of your life is bad. And you can't tell me that, because if you're here right now, you have access to the internet. So that means that there is someone in your world or yourself that has money to pay for an internet connection. So life can't be that bad if you have the internet, right? You can go sit there and watch YouTube all day. You can watch, I don't know, Pornhub. You can go do things. So you can't tell me your life isn't that bad. If you find me on the street and you walk up to me and say, hey, I heard your voice one day because some guy was watching a stream on Starbucks and I recognize your voice. I have no Wi-Fi. I have no internet. I don't even have a cell phone. I'd say, yeah, man, your life is hard. Like, what can I do to help you? That's the time where I would actually take a step back and evaluate that life is pretty hard. If you don't have a cell phone, you don't have access to the internet, and you happen to walk into Starbucks or Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you went to, and you heard this random stream because some guy was watching this there, and you saw me on the street yelling at somebody, and you heard my voice and you said, hey, are you Uncle Ted? I heard about you one time in the coffee shop because someone had free Wi-Fi, and I just looked over their shoulder. Then I would say, yeah, that's tough. Like, you know, like what can we do to get you there? You know, that's where I'd evaluate that, and I'd be like, man, like that's really tough. Like, you got to look at your life, like no internet, no cell phone, no access to things. Yeah, like we'd worry about that.
Testing. All good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that was our guest for today. We had a surprise guest on, and you know, so it's pretty good, giving some nice insights.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear the pro athlete speak.
Yeah,
Is he around? He didn't message me this morning, so.
Yeah, I think he had some things to do today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was talking to him. He had some things to do.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that. His work ethic is incredible.
Is this a legit pro athlete?
Yeah.
I was going to say discipline levels then will be massive.
Yeah, so the background with him, he actually, they won. So here in Canada, we have the Canadian Football League, which is a professional football league.
Mm-hmm.
His team actually won the Grey Cup last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Verkeels put him up. Yeah.
Oh, this dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be able to explain about discipline.
Yeah, he's super smart. He's super smart, super young.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And he trades as well.
Yes.
Looks like he trains good too.
Yeah. And he's really, really good at what he does in general. From working out, from mental work. He's very, very good at what he does. He scares me. Let's put it that way. Like, it's funny because when I work with him, it's like you sort of hear what you know, like what he does and how he approaches things. It's very good.
But it's very goal orientated.
Yeah. The CFL doesn't count as a league. Well, actually, it does. So this is once again a little bit of ignorance in the West, and this is where, you know, like people's ignorance living in Ontario really shine. In the prairie provinces, all they have is football and hockey. It's a very, very strong, supported league out in the West. We're ignorant to it here in Ontario. I mean, we have three teams here in Ontario, but out in the West, it's very, very prominent. They live and die by the CFL. So I think as Canadians, we should be proud that we do have that football league, and don't discount what they do. The league isn't that big because it's Canada, and Canada in itself geographically is bigger, but doesn't have the population. But those guys can play. It's actually a faster game than the NFL, and it's actually a more athletic game than the NFL. I'm not comparing either. I like the NFL as well, but if you have a chance to watch a CFL game, you'll see that it is actually a very good, fast game for watching football in terms of the way they play it, and the athletes are just as good. You can have crossover from the NFL into CFL and vice versa. Obviously, not everybody in the CFL is going to make it to the NFL. Okay, so like I don't want to hear the comments or the commentary, but the idea is, being a pro athlete at that level, you have done something right in that regards. So I do respect pro athletes that have dedicated themselves to that craft, and especially a high impact sport such as football or soccer, or anything that requires a lot of effort in that respect, and puts a grind on your body.
It's still going to be a pretty high level of competition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like now people start coming out there. Well, if you understood the CFL actually runs faster. The end zone is bigger. They play less downs. So there's actually a lot of people, what they do. So like I said, there's going to be pros and cons to both. But if you look at the game played in the CFL, it's a lot faster than in the NFL. So I mean, like, don't argue those minor points. If you believe the NFL is the be-all end-all, congratulations. I'm just speaking as a Canadian. In the majority of Canada, especially on the West, they take the game very seriously. So it's just one of those things. It's just like,
Yeah, when I was working on the rigs in Saskatchewan, that's all they had.
Yep.
They just have one football, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, is that all you guys have? They're like, yep, Rough Riders. I'm like, oh,
Yep.
shit. Okay, and they're very serious about that.
Mhm.
They're like, man, we only have one thing to cheer about, so why not?
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I knew I was going to get in trouble with that comment, but whatever.
It's bound to come out.
I knew exactly as soon as I said that there's going to be someone who will destroy the CFL, because I mean, in general, if you hear people talk about the CFL in Canada, a lot of people would basically speak to the sentiment of the CFL is a waste of time. But that's basically what it is. I mean, like Doug Flutie played in the NFL. The Rocket Richard played in the NFL, or the Rocket Ismail played in the NFL. There were people that have played from the CFL that were very good and then moved into the NFL and played really well. And the Rock played in the CFL.
The Rock played in CFL too?
Yeah, he did.
Ted, are you guys more into basketball or football up there?
Myself personally, I'm a basketball fan. That's just because I played basketball as a sport.
Who's your team in the NBA? Oh, Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, he was cut from the team.
A long time suffering Knicks fan.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was happy because I was able to go to watch a Lakers versus Celtics game at the Staples Center. And now when I go to New York, I'm going to try and get to Madison Square Gardens to watch a Knicks game. Like, I'm trying to do those tours. Yeah, like I did I watch the Yankees play at Yankee Stadium. Like I like going to different parks and different stadiums. So like when I'm out in a city, like I really try and get to a game just to experience it.
I would love to go to like Lambeau. I don't know, out west, maybe like where LA plays the Coliseum. But yeah, last time I went to a Knicks game was back in 2012 when they were actually like kind of good.
Yeah.
And Garden was just rocking.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's sort of certain things I like to do, or want to see. It's not necessarily for people that are winning or losing. Like I'm not worried about sort of the outcome. I always like looking at the atmosphere, or sort of how things are played in that. Like when I went to the Staples Center was really fun for me because the fans were really fun. The food was good. So that was fun there. It's so like it was just that it wasn't necessarily like LeBron James was playing. Like I wasn't too concerned about that. I was more concerned about just how what the atmosphere was like, and that it's different. So like when you have teams that have legacy, the atmosphere is very, very strong and very different. Can I show my dog as a special guest? That'd be fun.
GJ closes about, would you wait for a retest of this level? I'm not even sure. I'm basically done for the day. There was no trade today. This day was filled with some psychology information, some self-reflection you need to do now when this ends. The part where Ted talked, I'm going to listen to that again. And I think like no matter how good you are, no matter where you are in life, it's always good to self-reflect on like different things and how your thought processes were during the week. Makes you
Yeah, I think it's true. And I think the biggest thing is when you start becoming open to people in terms of their opinions, life becomes a lot easier. And what I mean by that is, and Rakeel does this very well, and he jokes about it, but he listens to people's opinions and he just says, "That's great. Like, I'm happy for you." Like he doesn't argue with people, and that was one of the approaches that I've taken to sort of a lot of things too. Is I just say, "Sure." Like he jokes about when he deletes people's comments when they send him messages, and he puts on Instagram as a story, and everyone gets a laugh, but truthfully, from a psychological standpoint, it makes sense. Like if I'm not interested in hearing what you have to say, I shouldn't even open it. I should just delete it. And the other person on the other side shouldn't be offended. Like if someone doesn't read your message, they shouldn't be offended. They should just be like, all right, perfect. Like I don't have to deal with anybody. Like I don't want to deal with them, right? So I think there's takeaways from that, and I think once you get to a certain level, you really don't have to answer to anybody. Like I'm watching, there's fights right now on Instagram again with traders and option traders, and they're doing that whole battle again. And I look at it, it's like you don't want any of our smoke. Like don't even start that with me, because it just doesn't make any sense. Because I'll give you my 2 cents. But you're not going to get anywhere with me. You're not going to change anything. and I've learned that for a long time. You know, like there's a lot of people, I would say, even on social media that aren't even qualified to talk about finance. I was lucky. I worked in finance, so I have a background in it. I had licenses. I was regulated. I have all that information. I don't use it as a tool or as a crutch to say, hey, I'm better than somebody. But at the end of the day, it's like I know what it's like to work in an organization that eats, sleeps, and breathes finance. That's very cutthroat. So, you know, a lot of people that are coming up that are educating and teaching, they don't have that experience in the corporate world in finance, and that's fine because you can learn this outside of finance. But don't throw shade on people because they're doing better because they have that background and they have that knowledge. Like, I sort of just laugh at that point. Did I see The Last Dance? Yep, I watched the last 2 episodes on Monday. It was a very good, is very good, a very good documentary. I believe a lot in Michael Jordan's philosophies. I think in today's world, it wouldn't pass. People are too sensitive. But back in the 90s, man, when I was playing basketball, it was eat or be eaten. Fouls, like now when they call fouls, they're like, man, that wasn't a foul back in the day. That's a love tap. You know, you hand check people, elbow people. It's just part of the game. I remember I had to wear a mouth guard.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, he was pretty rough too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the things I heard, I'm like, man, that's cool, but if you did that now, it'd be like so offensive.
Yeah, and honestly, he wouldn't last a minute in the league. You know, he would basically he would be thrown out, trash talking what he did, how he did it. You know,
Bully the little manager.
yeah,
The little guy.
yeah. Imagine
Openly.
walking up to your boss and just being like, "Yo, we don't like you," and just walking away, and the guy can't do anything.
Yeah, we don't like you, shorty.
Yeah,
They were on the plane, and one of their players, they didn't play well, and he told the air hostess to take the food away. He doesn't deserve to eat,
yeah.
and they took the food away. And he's like, yeah, I flew hungry. Yeah, I think that's how great people were made, just be like ruthless, but in a good way too.
Yeah.
Like, tough love. It's funny because like the young people, they can't understand tough love, but the OGs here in the YouTube chat and Zoom chat, they know all about tough love. They're like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I look at that too because I look at even when I go to the gym and you know someone pushes me at the gym, man, I want that. I want people at me because I thrive on that. Like I don't get offended if someone's coming at me hard. It's like I want you to come at me as hard as you can because I don't think you'll break me. Like I remember when I used to play high school basketball, and I still remember my coach. Um, he would play with us in the game like you're like a high school basketball coach. So this was back in 1994, so probably a whole lot of people weren't born. This was 94. I was playing varsity level basketball, and our coach would play the scrimmage with us. He would literally elbow you in the face and trip you as you were going down the court. Like you would be bleeding. Like there were instances where we had a couple players that were bleeding. Someone would twist their ankle. Like he would go out there to hurt you. Like and he would laugh about it afterwards. I mean, you know, he would sort of, if it got really bad, he would sort of stop the game and just sort of try and help you out a bit. But man, there were times where like I was guarding him because he was almost my height, and he elbowed me in my stomach. You figure I was 17 at the time, and I was 160 pounds or 170 pounds, and I was 6'4", so I was a twig. And he would elbow me, and I would smash my body into the ground. Like I'd come home with bruises, and he'd be like, "Oh, that's what's going to happen in the game. You got to get up and do that." Imagine in school right now if a teacher actually hit you, how much trouble they would get into. But there, it was there it was acceptable. We loved it, and he basically beat the crap out of me, and I beat the crap out of him. Like there was almost fist fights with our coach at one point because they were like, "You keep hurting us," and he's like, "Whatever." But you know what? He was a great coach, and we enjoyed it. It's just it was so competitive.
I miss the 90s, man. Oh man.
Yeah, well, man, in high school, like I remember when we used to go to other high school gyms, and man, you would be cheering in the gym. Like this was before like people got stupid with guns and stuff and violence. Man, in the 90s, you would walk into a school and oh, you could feel the tension. And it wasn't people weren't gonna beat you up or stab you or shoot you, but man, it's like when you went into that school to play basketball, it was like it was the mecca. And like one side of the gym was one school and the other side of the gym was a visiting school, and it was just nonstop trash talk the entire game. Like that was the days. Like I remember we played Jamal McGlure back when he was at I think it was Eastern Commerce he was at, and we played them for the Toronto Championships. Holy cow, that building, Eastern Commerce, and I think it was Eastern Commerce or Central Tech. It was one of the schools he went to. I'm trying to remember what school he went to. They had a balcony. Their gym was in the basement, and they had a balcony where that's where the stands were, on the balcony. Looking up and just having people hammer and heckle you as you're playing. Oh my God, it was insane. It was insane. Yeah, it was funny. I was at the Raptor game, and I was sitting behind the Raptor bench, and I yelled at Jamal. I was like, "Yo, Jamal!" I said, "I still guard you." And he looked back, and he's like, "What?" And then I told him, I told him what school, and I told him 1994. And he's like, "Oh my God!" And then he talked to me for about 5 minutes, and that was it. Felt good. I mean, I didn't really guard him when I played because he's 6'9" and a lot bigger than I was, but you know, we were on the court. Yeah. So it was just funny. We talked a little bit about that, and you know, sort of what he's doing and everything else like that. I don't think he really remembered me 100%, but I mean, I told him the school I went to, and I told him the game we were at when we were playing for Toronto Championships, and he remembered that 100%.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he remembered it right away. I think he thought I was crazy at first, but then when I started naming names, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I remember those guys. He's a good guy. I always liked Jamal. He was a very, very, very good basketball player, and he was very talented. And now that he works for the Raptors, it's like a full circle thing.
Man, you think NYC Open US 30 can continue bullish?
Yes, I think so.
Bullish.
I think we're gonna have a spike. I think if you put a buy stop above 24,469, it'll whipsaw back up.
Yeah, like if this holds here, like I've been watching
Yes.
it. If it holds here, I think this would be a good target up over here.
So I was saying 24,469, placing a buy stop there. I think that can work. The other thing is the argument against that is there might be a sell-off today because we did rally pretty hard all week. So people might be exiting, but I think you're good up to 24,490 at least.
I'm expecting a pullback, to be honest, on Dow Jones, if not a drop toward the end of the day. Yeah, because buys doesn't make sense to me. Even though we had that heavy 4-hour candle close, there's something fishy about Dow Jones today. So I'm expecting a sell-off today.
Yeah,
something.
I think if we break this, you can probably do to here at least. If we break this, I think we have up to here.
Mhm.
So those would be the two ideas. The thing is, the things that scare me, to your point, Kerwin, are these wicks here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because every time we've seen that, it's followed by these
Yeah.
things, right?
I'm gonna take some sells right now.
You playing with
Stop loss.
fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be a cowboy, because basically, I wanna see a pullback toward 24,300 at least.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna try to fight this 15-minute candle. I'm gonna try to ride this crazy horse right now.
Okay, I'm gonna head off over here.
Okay, Raja, take care, man.
Take care, everybody.
You're gonna leave me hanging in there.
Yeah,
Trust, it's gonna be a
you're
sell
good.
today.
You're good to go.
All right, man. Take care, buddy.
All right,
See ya.
take care, everybody.
All right.